So today's topic is the biggest myth about teachers. And why I care about this, why this matters is like my whole mission is all about using music as a vehicle to empower kids to be who they are and think for themselves and create and express and learn how to chase goals and just go for it and be who they are to the fullest expression. And so, why am I talking about teaching? Because I can do that in my own lessons all day long. I want to reach more than that. I want to change the whole paradigm of education for every kid and also every teacher. I grew up, and both my parents are educators, my sister's an educator, and just the current climate right now is, first of all, not good for kids, and second of all, not good for teachers. And so that is why I'm talking about this myth that exists. It's a myth that I operated under for a long time, and I just don't believe in it. And I think that anytime we're talking about holding space for kids, if we leave education and teachers out of the conversation, I think the conversation is incomplete. And when we talk about the mindsets and paradigms of teaching, that directly affects the kids on a large scale. So that is why this matters. And the myth that I want to talk about is there's a myth, there's a belief that is like burned into society. And the belief is that in order to be a good teacher, your well-being comes last, comes second. Everything else comes before your well-being. Just gonna let that land. That is so real and so raw and so evident in what's going on in this moment, in this current moment. I live in Chicago, and I know it's not like this in every district, everywhere in the US or around the world, but in Chicago, the public school teachers are being asked to sacrifice their health in order to keep their jobs. And that is just a gruesome highlight of the beliefs and frankly value that people put into teachers in our society. It's not true, and it's not real. It's easy to think it's real because that is how our society functions, and I functioned that way for a long time. I would go, last year even, I went a whole month without a day off because I was so devoted to being there for my students and making sure they had all the support they needed and amazing recitals, and just my teacher heart was very invested, and that is important. It's so important to be devoted. And I also got really bad pneumonia and was in bed for 5 days after that. And it was very much a cause and effect situation. It was like, okay, Adrian, you did this for a month. You didn't slow down at all. And then you got super sick. And that has been a pattern in my life for I don't even know how long. And I'm grateful for my ability to work hard and be disciplined. I also, it's just part of our culture that teachers have to put everybody before themselves. What I'm saying, what I'm inviting people into is a perspective that it's the direct opposite. Think about what an awesome teacher you would be if you had a good night's sleep, time off, just being paid fairly, think about your impact. Think about your impact and think about, what if you weren't tired, and what if, you spent, instead of spending like $100 on your classroom, what if you went and got a massage or something like that? I think there's just a very deep rooted belief in our society and teachers about themselves that if they invest in their well-being, that they're not being a good teacher. And if they say no to burnout, they're not being a good teacher. And I think that's a huge problem. And not only is it in society, teachers do it to themselves, and teachers do it to other teachers. So I'm here to kind of just blow that myth up. I don't believe in it, and I don't think it's true or real. I think that just like any other part of life, if you want to bring your best to the table, bring a full cup. Now, is that always easy? No. And is it always going to happen? You have 100% full cup every single day? No. It's a general vibe, though. And I'm just inviting teachers to notice how powerful you are and how your mental and emotional state is so important because you are powerful. Not to mention, you're just a human, and all humans deserve to have a full cup and have their well-being honored just because you're a human. I think that's another topic. But think about how powerful you are as a teacher. I know, I have been taking and studying music for 25 years now, which kind of gives you a little window into how old I might be. And I view this as like a lifelong class, and I have had teachers that inspire me. I've had like 5-word sentences on replay in my mind from very impactful, influential teachers in my life, and I've had that in both positive and negative ways. And I know that when my cup is full, I am able to hold a way safer and braver space for my students. And when it's empty, it's a lot harder for me to maintain this. So the myth that teachers, if you're not burning yourself out, you're not like sacrificing enough. I would say if you're burning out, you are directly hurting your impact. So I invite you to say no to burnout and say yes to yourself. There's a quote, the more you watch my videos and the more you follow me, you will learn how obsessed with quotes I am. I have quotes all over my house. So many. Like framed in sticky notes, just everywhere. Every time you say no to someone else, you say yes to yourself. So I'm just inviting all teachers, whether you take my masterclass or not, the idea that you need to burn yourself out or sacrifice everything for yourself in order to be a good teacher is not true. It's not true. And I will say that every day to you if you need a reminder. It's not true. It's not real. It's a structure that exists in our society based on fear and scarcity, which are two things that are running rampant right now and running a lot of decisions in terms of education and the fall. So I'm just going to paint a picture for you. And if you're a parent watching, I invite you into this picture as well. I imagine as a teacher, or imagine your kid's teacher, if they were nourished and full and well paid and valued just as a human, and then as a teacher, what it could look like. Like what kind of awesome things that you've thought about, like creations, or I mean things for your students too. Like you can do so much more for your students when you are full. I'm flipping the idea, the myth on its head, and I'm also not though, because I'm not saying that we shouldn't care about our students. Obviously, I care a whole lot. I just think that doing the opposite is an act of care rather than what is commonly said. So we can't sustain our mission without our health and our well-being. We just can't. We burn out or we get sick, and I can't tell you how many teachers that are friends of mine get very, very sick like 3 or 4 times a year, and that's just part of teacher life. Well, what if it wasn't? What if we could create something else? So I am offering that little flip. I don't believe that burning yourself out makes you a good teacher. I think that staying full gives you the chance to be the best teacher possible and really lean into your mission and your purpose and be there for yourself and your students. So I am sending all teachers and parents and students strength as we go into August and navigate this whole back to school thing, whatever that even means. Like, are we virtual or are we in person or are we a combination? I feel like it changes everywhere. I think the common theme is that it's a stressful situation. So I hope this video serves you, and I invite you to just investigate that myth about teachers and how you see it play out in your own life and just in the world of education in the current moment. That is all I have for you on this beautiful Monday, and go out there and do something awesome. Be you and fill your own cup because you matter. See you next time.